Down in front.
It's all yours.
Okay. Good morning and welcome to the February 28th monthly press conference between myself and City Manager Stephen Wade. We had a couple of things to bring up today, and as usual, we'll be open for questions as we go through this list. I want to bring up something that I think was mentioned just yesterday, but I want to highlight it again because I think it's a real improvement on some transportation issues that the city was experiencing. Topeka Transit Authority has come up with its MOD program. It's Metro on Demand. And what it does is try to service a community or a section of this city where it was difficult being able to get standard buses into some of the streets there because of they're so narrow and so forth. And it was hard for some of the residents there to take advantage of the transit system. So they came up with this MOD program, and basically what it is, it's a app-based program where you can basically call for a ride on demand and schedule your pickups so that you can get to the doctor's appointments, groceries, whatever you need to do in your life, where before you had to stand on a corner and wait for that bus. Now they'll come right down and pick you up at your front door. And so for a very minimal cost of $2, people can take advantage of this new program. I'm excited to say that in the last update, I think since January 30, they've received requests from 100 plus riders to use that program. So people are seeing the advantage of having that very specific effort for their area. And it covers quite a bit of an area. It's kind of the High Crest area, but also some of Highland Park, and then a little bit to the north. So it covers enough of the grocery stores and other retailers that the residents might need to go to. So I wanted to bring that out again. So if people haven't heard about that yet, it's available to everybody in that area. So if you need a ride, you're having difficulties, car breaks down that day, you need to have two cars but only have one, and you need to use the transit authority, that's a pretty convenient way to get around the city of Topeka. So I would encourage people to look into it and take advantage of it. Also, this last weekend, I was privileged to take part in the ribbon cutting of OmniCircle here in Topeka. Quite a few people there. It was a good gathering. City manager was there, and a lot of other people from Greater Topeka Partnership, and a lot of supporters for Mr. Michael Odapont's effort here in the city of Topeka. And in my comments, I noted that he was one of those boomerang people we talk about, that he was from Topeka and left and went to another city to try and see what was available to him there, and realized that what he was looking for was back here in his hometown in Topeka. So he came back to Topeka with a vision and with a lot of support from community volunteers. He's put this OmniCircle group into place. And I know from experience when I was working for the state of Kansas, we used to use that very same building for some of our staff meetings, and it was just barely hanging on at that time. And now to see that building is really impressive to see what they have done. They're very up-to-date, modern, clean offices that he opens to the public for those people who want to pursue a dream, just like he did. It's very much focused on small business and entrepreneurs. Not only does he provide the space, but the resources and training. So it was a privilege to be able to take part in the grand opening of that facility. So I would encourage you, if you have something you want to pursue, to contact the Omni Group, and they will walk you through everything that you need to do to put yourself in a position where you can be competitive in the small business community. So again, thank you to Mike Odapant for doing that for the city of Topeka. I wanted to give the city manager a little bit of time for the very glamorous stuff of utilities and potholes. So I'll defer to him for that piece.
So I can tell you that tomorrow at noon, we will have the first of 3 public sessions as we re-engage on our discussions about water rates for water, stormwater, and wastewater. So that's tomorrow at noon at the Holiday Building, and then the following 2 Wednesdays, we have evening sessions scheduled. Also, those will be available for later viewing on Channel 4, as well as for somebody who can't come in person, we do have a Zoom option available. So if you email the city manager's office, we can get you that Zoom link. So that's tomorrow at noon. And then, Mr. Mayor, we did have a constituent over the weekend expressed concern that somehow or another we weren't doing potholes.
Yeah.
And I can assure everybody that we are actively engaged with those both day and night. Last week alone, we did 627 potholes last week, and year to date, so as we wind up the month of March, or February, I guess, we're rolling into March, at 6,000? Yeah.
More than 6,000 today.
So it's a lot of potholes, and we're not even into pothole season yet. So the asphalt plants are scheduled to open up later in March, and that's when you'll see a lot more work to be done. We use cold patch right now, and so we are trying. This is a tough time of year with the snow having hopefully gone for good now. Roads are going through a lot of freeze and thaw, so a lot going on there.
Well, I know the crews are out there because I see them out there all the time. Traffic gets stalled up, people don't look far ahead and see the crew out there working.
That's right.
I would offer that, the citizens keep note of those workers out there that are trying to get those potholes filled, and be careful as they drive around them, and be safe with those workers out there.
Yeah, I think we like to say that orange cones are a sign of progress. They might be a slight irritant, but it just means that we're actually doing something.
That's good. I appreciate that. Thank you. Also, I wanted to bring up something that general public may or may not know about. Myself, city manager, and others have been busily working with the MTAA board and its group and what they're planning on doing, and we're hoping to bring to the city of Topeka. And part of those plans are a remodel of the Billard Airport over in Oakland. That's scheduled to start, I think, mid-March. I was just there over the weekend again, just to check it out, and that's a busy place. I mean, it is an important place to the community over there. Had to stand in line just to get into the cafe there, which is good, but it does need updating. It needs some reconfiguration, and that's going to happen. There's been a real focused effort on expanding the use of Billard Airport as maybe even a airport of choice for our business executives who fly into the city of Topeka and bring in others, because it's a short route from Billard into downtown and most of the corporate headquarters that we have. So that remodel will start to take place. People who are interested in it, if they're in that area, I'd encourage you to take a look and see how change is happening in the city of Topeka. And that's just part of an overall effort to bring, I think, better utilization of the resources that we have, to include Forbes Air Force Base. The MTAA board itself has made a significant decision to hire a director of economic development at the MTAA, and I think that's a big, big step that will help us move our ideas and vision forward. That position hasn't been posted as of yet, but I would expect there will be more news coming out about that from the MTAA. But I'm excited about that effort. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that later on this week, I'm welcoming the instructors and the citizens who are attending the next Topeka Police Department Citizens Academy. You know, a lot of people get on email and Facebook and suggest that if you really want to know what it's like to be like a policeman, you have to go to the Citizens Academy. And typically that academy gets filled up with people who want to get that perspective. It's, I can't remember how many weeks, but it takes in a lot of time to show you the ins and outs of why the police department does what it does, and why the policies they have in place are there to serve the public the best they that they can. So I appreciate that the department keeps that a very active program. At one time, I can remember we even had a Young Citizens Academy where we had youth there. And who knows, if we have enough interest in that and the chief has enough staff, maybe that will be started again. But I would encourage people to, if you know somebody that's going, if you haven't had the chance to attend, talk to them about it. So maybe you can get signed up for the next one. So that Citizens Academy starts this Thursday, I believe. And that's actually the last thing I wanted to bring up, City Manager, unless you had one other thing.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Well, we will sit for questions rather than stand for questions, if you have any.
How is the utility increase proposal that will be discussed at next week's council meeting different from what initially came up in late last year?
So one of the things we're looking at right now is to lessen the burden on residents inside the city limits. And so we have explored some efficiencies that will help, and we're also looking at modifying some of the rates.
Mike, you were talking about the airport of Billard. Is replacing the terminals one of the things that they plan to do out there?
Yes. That, there are going to be some new T-hangers that they describe out there. A lot of those need to be, some of them torn down and some of them just
They're pretty
updated.
dated.
Yeah,
They're
pretty
pretty
dated. And there is surprisingly a waiting list for people to use that facility, which is a good thing. So we need to recognize that and expand our resources there so that we don't have a waiting list, that we have those pilots who come to Topeka on a regular basis. And the actions that the MTAA board has taken will encourage that, to include that they've reduced their costs for fueling and also accessibility. I think they're doing that 24/7
Right.
Self-serve.
Yeah, they're working on it.
And so that has increased traffic there even more so. So we have to make sure that we keep up with that demand.
So the hangars are all filled and there are pilots waiting for them to come available so they can use them?
Yep,
Yes.
there's a waiting list to get in there, which is a good sign. So that shows us that we have the potential for growth. We just need to make that growth possible. Any further
All right.
questions? Okay.
Thanks.
Well, I thank you for attending and for your attention. Have a good week.
Appreciate it.